The queen lived in a beautiful castle. She had a daughter whom she dreamed of. The child had black hair and snow-white skin. Therefore, they named her Snow White. The queen soon died. The king did not grieve for a long time. A year later he brought a new queen to the palace. She was beautiful but angry. The woman brought a magic mirror with her. Every day she admired her reflection in him and asked him the same question: who is the most beautiful in the world? The mirror has always told only the truth. Therefore, it honestly praised the beauty of the queen, and the woman beamed with happiness. Snow White grew, and every year her beauty blossomed brighter. And now, once again, speaking to the mirror, the queen heard in response that now she is not the most beautiful in the world, but Snow White. The queen was not going to endure this in her own palace. She ordered her faithful servant to lead the princess into an impenetrable thicket and kill.
No.
But the servant could not, even for the sake of the queen, kill the sweet girl. He brought the princess into a dark forest and let her go. And he himself returned to the castle and told the queen that he had followed her order. For a long time, the princess wandered through the forest. Along the way she was helped by all kinds of forest inhabitants.
Wow.
Snow White was very kind to them, and therefore they became strong friends. In the evening, the princess accidentally stumbled upon a small house. She went into it and saw that there was no one in the house. The table was set for 7 people, and there were 7 cots in the bedroom. And everything in this house was very small. Therefore, Snow White realized that 7 little people live here. After a long and difficult journey, she lay down on one of the beds and fell fast asleep. The 7 dwarfs returned home late at night. They were greatly surprised by the appearance of an unexpected guest. Sleeping Snow White was so charming that the dwarves decided to let her sleep, and did not wake her. Morning has come. Snow White woke up, saw the 7 dwarfs, and was scared. But they were affectionate with her, and the girl told about her misfortune. They immediately liked Snow White, and the dwarfs invited her to stay with them. Moreover, she agreed to take care of the house, cooking, washing and cleaning. Every morning the gnomes went to the mountains to mine gold and precious stones and returned late at night. Leaving for work, they warned Snow White to be afraid of the evil stepmother and not open the door to strangers. At this time, the queen, as usual, went to the secret room to talk to the magic mirror. But the mirror suddenly said that she was not the most beautiful in the world, but Snow White. That the princess is still alive, and lives with the gnomes in the house. The queen became very angry, and decided to deal with Snow White herself. She went to a secret room, and cooked a poisonous venomous apple there. It was very beautiful on the outside, but if someone ate even a piece, he would certainly die. When the apple was ready, the queen changed into an old merchant, and came to the house of the dwarfs. Seeing the sweet old woman, Snow White felt sorry for her. She did not suspect anything, and left the house. The old woman treated the girl to a ripe apple and said that if she eats this apple, she will remain young and beautiful forever. Snow White believed her, and as soon as she bit the apple, she fell down dead and stopped breathing. The contented queen went to the palace. In the evening, the dwarves returned from work and saw Snow White lying on the ground. She was not breathing. They sobbed so loudly and lamented that their cry was heard by the handsome prince, who was hunting in the forest nearby. It became interesting to him what kind of howl arose that scared away all the animals. And when the prince found the house of the dwarfs, he saw Snow White. She was so beautiful that the young prince immediately fell in love with her. He persuaded the dwarves to take her with him to the castle, because there he has doctors who can cure Snow White. The dwarfs allowed it. Then the prince ordered his servants to carry the princess on their shoulders. And when they were carrying her, it happened that the servants stumbled over some bush, and from the concussion a piece of a poisonous apple fell out of Snow White's mouth, and she woke up. Seeing the young prince, the girl also fell in love with him and agreed to marry him. They also invited their wicked stepmother to the wedding. Out of anger that Snow White is still alive, and that now a long and happy life awaits her, the queen broke the magic mirror and never looked at it again. A long time ago, a miller kept a donkey. For many years, the donkey did hard work and was an indispensable helper for the miller. But the years passed, and the donkey became old and weak. He could no longer work at the mill, and the owner did not have the means to feed the animal. So, after a little reflection, the miller took the donkey out into the field and left him. The donkey stumbled on the spot for a long time, not knowing what to do. Suddenly he decided that he would go to the glorious city of Bremen to become a street musician and earn his living by playing the guitar. The road to the city took the donkey into the forest. For a long time he made his way through the trees until he met a sad dog lying on the grass. She had run a long way, and now she fell exhausted by the road. The donkey greeted the dog and asked why she was sad. Then the dog said that he used to be a great hunter, and such that not a single prey could escape. But now he has grown old and can no longer chase game. Therefore, the owner drove him out. The donkey thought a little, and then told the dog that he was planning to become a street musician. Suddenly the dog jumped off and barked happily. It turned out that he knows how to sing and plays the drums well, and therefore does not mind keeping the donkey company. On that and decided. Now the donkey did not go to Bremen alone. They walked through the forest together, and each sang in his own way as best he could. And then they met a cat on the road. He was so sad that the newly made friends could not pass by. They began to ask the cat why he was so unhappy. It turned out that the evil mistress drove the cat out of the house, because he was old and can no longer catch mice. Then the donkey conferred with the dog, and they decided to take the cat into the group as a violinist. And so the animals continued on their way to Bremen, until they met a rooster on the way. He sat on the hedge and crowed with horror all over the cock's throat. Friends spoke to him and learned that the rooster had escaped from the hostess, who considered him old and decided to cook soup out of him. Without thinking twice, the donkey, the dog and the cat called a rooster into the group, giving him a balalaika. So, the newly made troupe walked through the forest until night fell. Friends had no choice but to settle down for the night by a large tree. The donkey and the dog lay down from below, the cat climbed onto a branch, and the rooster sat on the very top of the tree. Suddenly a light flashed in the distance.
What?
The rooster perked up his senile eye and noticed the hut in which the light was dimly burning. Then the friends decided to spend the night in a hut. But when they made their way to the hut and looked out the window, they saw their 4 robbers celebrating another successful robbery. Already pretty hungry, the musicians decided to drive the bandits out of their lair. And now a plan ripened in the minds of friends. The donkey fell on the windowsill, the dog sat on the donkey, the cat on the dog, and a rooster turned out to be at the top of the pyramid. Then the donkey started screaming, the dog barking, the cat meowing, and the rooster crowing. Frightened by the suddenly appeared monster, the robbers ran out of the hut in fear. And friends happily settled in the hut. They ate the robbers' food and went to bed quietly. However, the bandits did not want to put up with the fact that their lair was taken over. And then they sent one of the robbers to investigate. Under cover of night, he made his way into the hut, but in the darkness did not notice the cat and stepped on it. The cat scratched the bandit's leg in a rage. The dog bit his hand, the rooster pecked in the head, and the donkey kicked his hoof with all his might in the eye. So, the bandit ran out of the hut in horror and told the rest of the robbers that terrible giants had settled in their lair, from whom it was better to stay away. From that moment on, no one disturbed the friends in the forest house. They lived in peace and harmony and called themselves the Bremen Town Musicians.